let's start the rapid revision of physiology. The first system is going to be general physiology. We all know that the homeostasis, that is the maintenance of constancy of internal environment, is very, very important to have the maximum efficiency in the body, and whatever body is going to have the give the functions to us, right? So they are going to be regulated by different regulatory systems. In that, the homeostasis, first of all, understand the homeostasis terminology was given by the Walter B. Cannon. Walter B. Cannon. Now, I told you what is homeostasis. It is the maintenance of internal environment or maintenance of constancy of internal environment. For that internal environment, we are going to give one fancy terminology. Not we per se. There was someone which is known as Claude Bernard. Claude Bernard, he was the scientist who gave the terminology for internal environment, and that is called as Milieu, Interior. Please remember how to remember these terminologies. The short form of this, that is Milieu, Interior, is MI, right? Whenever the person is going to have MI, he is going to go to the clouds if we do not treat that person within time, right? So please remember MI and cloud, right? And please remember the gods are also there in the cloud. Whenever you want to talk to the god, you look up like this in the clouds. So please remember, he's the god of physiology, or I can say he's the father of physiology. All right. And this homeostasis or internal environment is going to be maintained by different regulatory mechanisms. Please remember that there are going to be two different types of regulatory system. What are those two different types? First is going to be feedback system, and second is going to be feed-forward system. Feedback is further divided into two subtypes, that is positive feedback and negative feedback. Positive feedback and negative feedback. Alright. Thankfully, feed-forward you don't have to remember what is positive, what is negative. Remember that the feedback, that means if you have to come back from a certain point, you have to go to that point first, right? And if you want to go forward, you can go from wherever you are. So please remember, why I'm saying so is that feedback system, that means you have to have the stimulus first, then only you're going to get the response. But in the feed-forward system, the correction will start to happen even before there is any change into the variable. What I mean by that? Let's see. First of all, remember that feedback system, and which is the most common regulatory system, is the negative feedback system, right? Everything goes in the negativity. So see over here, homeostasis. So the mother is asking that why you do have less marks. That means negative feedback from the teacher, and the boy is saying that she's teaching homeostasis. Why I have given you this meme? Please remember that the most common regulatory mechanism is going to be negative feedback. Most common means there are going to be thousands and thousands of examples of this negative feedback, and we are going to do the smart study. We are not going to waste the time only doing hard work, right? So what we are going to do? We are going to do the smart study. That means we are going to remember the examples of feed-forward system and positive feedback. Remaining all are going to be the examples of negative feedback system. Right? So see over here, ye dil mange more. That means we want more and more and more and more and more things. That is nothing but your positive feedback system. And if something is counteracting, that means if you give the stimulus and you get the response which is inversely proportional to the stimulus, that is going to be your negative feedback system. For example, let's see, if the BP is increased, what will happen? There are receptors known as baroreceptors will be activated, and that will decrease BP, right? Same is going to happen if there is an increased BP is there, that means hypertension is there, chemoreceptors are going to get activated and they will decrease the BP. Let's say glucose is increased, the insulin is going to help us out to decrease the blood glucose. That means it is going to take the glucose from the blood and put it into the tissues. Right? So it is going to be a negative feedback system. Something was increasing, we have decreased it. So it is in the inverse correlation with the stimulus. The response is inverse correlation with the stimulus. That is going to be negative feedback. So let's look at the positive feedback system and feed-forward system. Rest all examples are going to be the negative feedback system.